Round of applause. Thank you. Good luck. Yes, sure. Great to be on the deep stage again. Feels like home a bit. So as already said, my name is Imants. I'm Director Latvia of Cleantech for Baltics. And I'm really excited to be here today and tell you why do we think at Cleantech for Baltics that the Baltics can be the next cleantech powerhouse. And before we dive into the topic, let me just briefly tell you what actually Cleantech for Baltics is. Well, as the name might suggest, it's a pan-Baltic initiative, and basically what it is, it's a think tank to accelerate clean tech innovation and make sustainable funding and funding for clean tech available. And we really try to also bridge the clean tech community, the clean tech ecosystem, so that startups, investors, ecosystem players with the policymakers. So we want to, like it's been talked a lot here at the conference that there's business people, you make them speak the same language with scientists, so we make the policymakers speak the same language as the business ecosystem for clean tech. And we really try to highlight the potential impact, the opportunity that clean tech brings, and put it into the center of the debate. So that's actually what I'm trying to do here today as well, to get it into the debate that people start talking more about it as a big opportunity that it actually is. So we're supported by Cleantech for Europe. And there's different kind of cleantech initiatives starting out in Europe in different regions. So we have Cleantech for Nordics, we have Cleantech for France, and so on. And we are Cleantech for Baltics, Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. And we just started recently, so that's late November last year, so we're quite fresh. But we're trying to be really active, and I want to tell you more how we can be this powerhouse in cleantech in the Baltics. So as already by the moderator said, so it's quite important to understand what cleantech is. That's simple, sustainable technologies that significantly reduce the consumption of resources or the impact on climate. That's simple. But when we're talking about cleantech, there's 6 subsectors that are significant: agri-tech and food, energy and power, materials and chemicals, resources and environment, transport and logistics, and enabling technologies. And why I'm highlighting this is, so we're a deep tech atelier, talking deep tech, but as you can see, most of the sectors are overlapping highly. So when we talk deep tech, we are also moving really deep into the clean tech sector. And so how are we doing actually right now when we talk about clean tech? So it's also always basically the same story about startups, investments, and deal flow. So we're doing actually really good. So we had a record year in 2021, and last year in the cleantech sector in the Baltics, around 280 million was invested with a deal count of 47, and we see a strong upwards trend. And we also believe that in the coming year, this year, there's going to be also some quite large investments coming up, and we're going to continue this trend of growth within the Baltics. And if we zoom into the cleantech sector, then the sectors that I mentioned before, we can see that 80% of investments are actually in 2 main sectors. That's those being energy and power, and transport and logistics. So this is making up 80% actually. But we do see a strong trend towards novel materials, which is also an important deep tech segment. So we see also other sectors becoming stronger and growing up in the Baltics and attracting more finance. And the thing is that like in deep tech, it takes longer to attract those larger growth rounds, and that's the same case also for clean tech. But if we put it in a global perspective, so how do we compare in the Baltics with the other countries within the EU? So we On the left side, we have the Baltic statistics. On the right, the data set of the EU. And we do see that it's highly correlating. So we do see the same trend as in Baltics and in the EU as well. And the same goes for investments, deal flow, and also by investments by maturity. So this is numbers, so we're doing good on this. So why do we think that the Baltics can be this powerhouse? Well, we have some observations as well. And firstly, the time is ripe. So while we do see, based on those growth rounds, that the ecosystem is maturing, we still have a steady deal flow within the pre-seed and seed stages, which shows that the ecosystem is still growing. So that indicates that it's going to be more growing, and we can speak about this growing trend also in the coming years. And it's deep tech as well. So we anticipate that previous investments will attract those growth rounds now as well, and that will also kickstart. It just takes more time. And then there is a strong base and dedicated capital. So at Cleantech for Baltics, we also are engaging with VCs. And in the Baltics, VCs are more technology agnostic, so generalist funds, but we see also a shift towards sustainability funds here as well. And this means that there's more marked capital for startups that operate in Cleantech. And that's one side. And the other side is that public funding is also being earmarked more and more in the Cleantech sector. So this will also give a boost to the different startups, companies, to have more options, more opportunity to grow their business and develop their technologies and startups. And then there's policy support, certainly. We saw this in Latvia as well. This year, the Climate and Energy Ministry was established. That's a really good push for the industry, so we hope for support in that area as well. And we see it more and more also among the Baltic countries that there's specific support measures earmarked for sustainability. So roughly 76 programs open or in planning that are dedicated or marked towards Cleantech. So this will also drive the industry and the sector forward. And if we zoom in the different countries, then we can see that the Baltic countries always had a foresight for innovation. It has an excellent skill force and the competencies to really drive the green transition. And the different Baltic countries each bring something to the table to make this Baltic powerhouse. Like Lithuania always had foresight for renewables, the rollout of infrastructure, innovation, and it was also the first European EU country to ban Russian gas. And as we heard it in the previous panels, they're like one of the biggest producers of hydrogen right now. So we have that foresight in Lithuania. In Latvia, always strong on ICT. Now doubling down on digitalization for products, for processes, which will further drive the smart city, smart energy, smart mobility sectors, and give that push also and drive the clean tech development in the sector as well. And we have Estonia always being strong on the green policy, industrial digitization. And now, just recently, we also have the news that in Estonia, the new coalition agreement of the new government, deployment of green technologies has made it even into the coalition agreement. So that's a huge thing. So that's the things we have, but we also have some recommendations how to really become this powerhouse in the Cleantech powerhouse in the Baltics. And first of all, we have to talk between the Baltic countries. So we have to be on the same page. We have to have a definition what is Cleantech in order to align our policy, support measures, and make a coherent single environment where startups, entrepreneurs, investors can operate, and there's just more opportunity that makes sense in a regional perspective. And there's been pan-Baltic initiatives, platforms like Norwegian ICT program or EIT initiatives, but there has to be more. There has to be dissemination of successful projects, programs, and that should translate into policy as well. Secondly, Cleantech development really needs an all-of-government approach. And what does this mean? Cleantech is overlapping, so you have to have the public stakeholders from Ministry of Economics, Energy, Transport, Finance, all working together to drive this cleantech transition, make funding available and really available, not just on paper, but so people can really utilize it. And this is lacking, but it's moving forward. A good example is Estonia. The state office has taken over the coordination capacity, coordinating all relevant ministries for cleantech development and bringing them to one table. And this also translates to a green action plan for policy development in Estonia. So this is a good example. And third, we need smarter regulation. And now there is this opportunity where the Baltic countries can really incentivize green procurement, and Lithuania is an excellent example where 100% of green public procurement has to be green as of this year. So all this plays very well together. And I would like to finish that we can make the Baltic a test bed that is a win-win for all involved parties. And that's my call to action. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Imants Martinsons, Cleantech for Baltics. Thank you, Imants, very much for the presentation.